Lead generation feels like an illegal money-making cheat code. If you do it right, it's literally an ethical way to rob the system. Listen, I've scaled 2 agencies to $1 million in revenue, exited multiple SaaS startups, published several best-selling marketing books, grown companies featured in the Inc. 5000, and all sorts of stuff. But none of this would have been possible if I hadn't mastered lead generation first. I wish someone had told me what you'll hear today before I made my first $1 million, and I'd have gotten there 10x faster. But since no one did, and time travel isn't possible yet, I'll just share it with you completely for free. Toward the end of the video, I shared the single most important key to making millions with lead generation, so I suggest you pay close attention. Let me tell you an interesting story. I was big into the crypto world, and by big into it, I mean I jumped in and did no research, and so I loved buying and selling NFTs, and by selling NFTs, I mean I would just buy NFTs and lose them. Let me show you this. Here's my actual crypto bank account. I was trading like crazy. I was at 53,000, and just slowly, over time, buying and selling, we ended up completely crashing out to zero. This is Wall Street bets level stuff here, okay? I went from having enough money to live for a year to having absolutely nothing, and I was crashing on my friend's couch, and things were not going so good for old ABZ in 2021, thanks to the crypto. This is not all the loss, by the way. There was a lot more. There was so much more that I don't think I have to pay taxes for the rest of my life. There was that much of a loss. So I needed money, okay? We needed a win. We needed something, and I didn't have any money to buy a business. I knew that I wanted to grow a SaaS. I knew I wanted to grow a software company, and I needed some money to buy it. But I also didn't want to pay the money because what? I just lost all my money on frickin' Richie Rich NFTs. And that was my problem. I was thinking everything. You know, maybe I would just go back to World of Warcraft. I heard they just released a new expansion. Let me just get out there and start playing WoW again. In an Airbnb that's costing me maybe 20 bucks a night in the UK. I'm not even in the US at this point. I can't even afford a ticket back to my own home country. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, something's got to change in this life. And so I knew that I had to do something. I had to go out there and make my life better. And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to. I'm just going to play video games. I downloaded WoW. I started leveling up. I played WoW Classic. I even got to level 10. I was killing boars all over again. I was reliving my middle school and high school fantasy of being an adult playing video games. Good job. That's what I wanted, and that's what I got. And all the time in the back of my mind, things were like, this is not sustainable. This is stupid. What are you doing? This is dumb. You need to generate some leads. You need to find people that you can partner with, and you need to grow their business and make this happen. Otherwise, what are you going to do? There's no end game here. You're not going to be able to trade $700 of crypto back up to $54,000. Maybe someone could, but obviously not you. In fact, you shouldn't even touch crypto at all, ever again. And instead, we need to double down. And that is when I stumbled in to Indie Maker Twitter. I found a little yellow profile pic, a guy named Tebow Maker. I'm like, Tebow? What is Mr. Tebow working on? And he was working on a tool called Tweet Hunter, and he was coding like crazy. He's partnering with influencers. He's making his SaaSes blow up. And more importantly, he has such a cool idea, such a cool tool. And I'm like, I want to be a part of this. I would love to own equity in this thing, but I don't have any money to spend on this, like I said in the beginning of the video. So how are we gonna make this happen? Well, first thing I did was reach out to him with some feedback. Yo, just tried signing up for Tweet Hunter, the billing won't load. Then we talked back and forth a little bit like that, tried to debug some stuff. And that got on his radar. Then he saw my ad, and then we talked back and forth, and this got me hyped up because what I realized here is by giving feedback to these indie makers and running ads that target them, I can get on their radar, okay? That was the first action I took. I stepped out of my comfort zone and started trying to break into this thing. Just sending the indie maker feedback here. I know I'm here as the cold email guy, known for cold outreach, but this is completely new. Normally I would hit them with the 3 C's that we talk about in Cold Email Manifesto. That's complement, case study, call to action. Instead, I provided some value, some feedback up front. And this worked, so I gave feedback to other indie makers. Here's me talking to Mark Liu about changing his pricing strategy. And everyone that I was talking to here took it nice, but it didn't always go well. There are some people that were insulted by the feedback And I'm not gonna call them out here. I made some enemies along the way, of course. It's not just all assets. And then this is an entire process that I went through on this lead generation. That's what I wanted to get across in this video. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but eventually there was a very good outcome with Tweet Hunter. And it should be clear from the way this story's going, but that's what I was facing. I was like, how do you give feedback the right way? How do you do this long-term lead generation thing that's not just this spray and pray cold email that everybody else is doing and that I'm doing as well? Because if I'm just spray and praying, then it's going to be much more of a give and take relationship. Like I give them money and then I get a piece of their business, when I didn't want that. I wanted to do it with no money down, which means they had to know, like, and trust me. So I was just following along, and then Tebow at some point tweeted that he was looking for equity partners. So when I saw that, an instant green flag opened up in my head. I'm like, well, I want to do that. So I reached out and I said, hey, Tebow, are you still giving out equity? My partner and I love your product and would love to help you 2 to 10x it if we can. And then he said, no. Unfortunately, we just did that in December. We just offer 5 spots for the Twitter Growth Challenge winners. And then I said, oh, let me know if you want to make a different arrangement, maybe something involving YouTube channel sponsorships, outreach marketing, etc. We'd want to contribute, earn it rather than a gift from a contest. Then I pitched him. I said, we should do partnerships. We should do outreach to influencers. We should do podcast interviews, media mentions. And he said that would cost a lot. Then I said, if we're partners in business, there wouldn't be a cost. I'm talking about earning the equity. We put in the work and get the MRR up. Then he tried to push back, as people always do. He said, the amount of equity we share with creative investors is like 0.1%. And I'm like, I don't want that. In my mind, I'm like, 0.1%, that's not enough to make $1 million in 3 months. What are you talking about? So I said, not sure what your full cap table looks like, but if you're willing to unlock more, depending on hitting certain goals, I'd love to get you on a call with me and my co-founder. And he says, we think it's worth starting small enough. If it goes great, we'd be interested in talking more. Breakthrough. And so we did a first deal together where he paid me $1,000 to run a sponsored YouTube video. Boom. Now we're starting to get some consistent clients with this lead generation strategy. I'm like, all right, this partnering with influencers thing is starting to make a little money here. Not as much as we lost on crypto, but it's a start. Now our revenue's increased. Now my freedom's increased. I stopped playing World of Warcraft at this point, just deleted it completely off my computer. And I also left the UK because gotta be free now. I made $1,000. Let me get out of here. But with success came a new challenge I didn't see coming. And speaking of all this, I actually developed a client acquisition system that helped me close major deals with Tesla, Netflix, and HBO. I call this system the AB Mastermind. It's a simple but proven way to fill your pipeline with high-paying clients on autopilot. If you're curious, click the link in the description below and apply now. After that first video, we kept going back and forth and we decided to partner and create a little app that you might know as Taplio, which is the LinkedIn version of Tweet Hunter. And so we partnered on this. I named it Taplio because it's like tap LinkedIn outreach. We created this tool and we started promoting it to our audience. So I wrote tweets for Tebow to send, for Tom to send, for Robert to send. These are the other people on the team. I posted on LinkedIn. We even did a giveaway of one of our courses if they signed up for a free trial. And after all this growth, the company, Pony Express, which is Tweet Hunter and Taplio put together, sold for $2 million in cash with an earnout up to 8 figures. $2 million in 3 months with an earnout up to 8 figures, which ended up being around 10 million. And this time I didn't waste all my money on crypto. I can't tell you exactly where it goes. You're gonna have to read the next book, personal finance book, for how I manage that money, but it's very safe and not in anything related to crypto. So what did I learn? I learned even if you have nothing, you shouldn't let that limit you. And in fact, you should let that guide you. I knew I didn't have money to put down, so I had to put in all of this research and do a longer form of lead generation in order to get what I wanted. I also learned that the easiest way to grow is to find a product that's already winning and add yourself to that team. As you can see here, Tweet Hunter had 5,000 users ahead of the acquisition. Well, in the 3 months that we were working on Taplio, we grew it to 3,000 users. So almost as many people on Taplio as Tweet Hunter in 3 months. So we added major value here. But I said this on a podcast recently, I'll say it again here. Taplio felt like magic because I was doing exactly what I was doing with any of our other projects. I was emailing our list, I was making YouTube videos about it, etc., etc. But every time I would talk about Taplio, it would explode in different ways. We hit #1 on Product Hunt. Then we got on Product Hunt again for Taplio. And it just kept hitting every time we talk about it when the other offers didn't hit nearly as hard. So I learned that you got to spread your chips. Pick different projects because some things are going to hit and some things aren't. And whether things don't hit is actually not a reflection of your skill as a marketer. It's more a reflection on your skill at lead generation. How good are you at picking the companies that you're going to grow and that you're going to work with? Lead generation is the process of generating interest from the market in your offer. Therefore, it's key to growing your business. For anyone to do lead generation effectively, they need to be able to find market segments that are more likely to convert by identifying their ideal customers. That means you need to know what your ideal customers look like. For me, it was indie makers. For you, it could be plumbers, it could be local businesses, it could be other agencies, whatever it is. You need to map out all of those things and learn in detail what they are, right? Thibaut is the same guy as Mark Liu, is the same guy as Marketing Max, is the same guy as Brett at Design Joy. This is a character that we've identified. And now when we see a profile, I can easily tell you if they're going to be a good person to follow. Is another guy, Aiden Masas. 4 exits for multiple 5 figures. Know your people, know everything about them so that you can just pick it up. Then you're going to standardize your lead scraping from your market segment, or if you're not going to scrape, you do it like I'm doing, just manually going through, and then set up some processes in your mind to scrape contact information. I mean, you could automate it, you could go crazy, or you can just do manual one-to-one because that's what still works right now this year and what's not going to be broken or chased out. You do it a little bit slower and you can win a lot bigger. This was millions of dollars in 3 months, right? How many millions of dollars are you going to make by a bunch of scraped leads going out there and just reaching out to thousands and thousands of people? Just think about it for a bit. I'm not saying you don't automate anything, because you can use tools like Instantly or Smart Lead to send emails and follow-ups that educate the customers, build a relationship, pitch them, etc. You can use these cold DM tools. You can scale your outreach, but you should keep it one-to-one-to-one until you're making enough money to scale. A lot of people try to scale way too early in their lead generation, when instead they should be doing what I talked about, which is going slow and making money with your clients and for your clients. Thibaut and Tom and all the other co-founders' lives were changed by this. I'm not just in here as some kind of shark coming in on the deal. I doubled their acquisition. Taplio is what allowed the company to be bought. Without Taplio, there possibly wouldn't have even been any acquisition and nothing for Pony Express. So you want to make sure you're delivering a crazy amount of value for your clients, yet there's also another extremely important process for growing a business. But before we jump into that, I want to remind you of something important. If you're having leads ghosting you, then you'll want to check out the AB Mastermind now. It makes filling your pipeline with high-paying clients a walk in the park. Just click the link in the description below and you can apply while it's still available. Anyway, as I was saying, the lead generation process goes hand in hand with lead conversion, which is the process of turning leads into paying clients. And for this, things like creating an irresistible offer, making sure your niche is good, making sure your quantifiable end result is there, your time frame, unique mechanism, the risk reversal, all that, and making sure that you have a solid sales process is all key. All of that is a must. Now, let me be brutally honest with you. You now know how powerful lead generation is to grow your business, but you need practical steps to get you started. That's why you must watch this next video on my channel now. I'll see you there.